In this video, we're going to take a look at the spikes and doing a little bit of work on them, and we're also going to talk about some of the procedures that you'll follow when you're sculpting. So you can see here, I have one of the spikes, and I'm using Pureref. I'll leave a link in the description, or at least a way you can get to it to check it out. But anyhow, we use Pureref to pull up reference images. I like having reference images whenever I'm doing any kind of sculpting or any kind of modeling work for that matter. It just helps out a lot. You always want to have reference. So in this image, I really like the way that these spikes look. There's many different, this one right here is closer to the game model that I chose, but I really don't want that really old school look. I like it, but it's dated now. So here, I like this too. I kind of like this center structure on these, how it looks like it's kind of reinforced. So I might do a mixture, but I think mainly I'm going to go for a look that's going to be similar to this. So before we even get started, one thing that I wanted to talk about is this. Right now, currently what we're going to do the spikes is just an initial pass. It's just to give it volume and a little bit of form. We're not trying to go in and make them look like these. That's a detailing phase that'll come a lot later, and that's a mistake that a lot of people that are new to sculpting make, is they just go in there and just start throwing in details, and you don't want to get in there and throw in details too early. So for now, what we're going to do, we're going to add a modifier, and we want to add a multi-resolution. So when we add this modifier, nothing really happens. And the reason for that is because we have a subdivide button. Now, what we want to do is we want to subdivide the model and then work on it. And we want to take it to the fullest extent that that subdivision level allows us. When you can't get any more detail out of it, that's when you would subdivide it to the next level. So for right now, we're going to hit it once, and that's where we're going to work. So we're going to switch over here to sculpt mode. Now, one of the things I want to do is I don't like how rounded off these spikes are. So I'm going to go in on the X view. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start pulling stuff around like that. I'm not trying to finalize anything right now. I'm just trying to add more shape to it. And we may refine this even more, but for right now, we're going to stick with that. Now, one thing I don't care for too much, I don't care for how there's nothing here. So what I'm going to do, is just add a little bit more detail there. Okay. Now I know I want to build this up a little bit. my strength down a little bit. And you want to constantly be rotating around it and looking at it. I also know that I want to build this base out more. This is one of the reasons why I'm starting on the spikes, is because I need to get the base of this spike known so that when I go to start sculpting on his back, I know exactly where I need the forms to be. Now, normally what I probably would have done on any other model is I probably would have merged all this together, but I don't want to do that on this one. And the reason being is because sometime at a later point, I'm thinking about lighting up his back spines. And if I do that later, then I need them to be separate pieces. So that's another thing when you're 3D printing a model or making a 3D printed model, you really need to think about what you want to use that model for. If you box yourself in a corner and make the model just one thing, like make it one big solid piece, then if you decide later on to go back and articulate it, or you decide to go back and add lighting, different things like that, maybe change pieces out, you can't, because you've already boxed yourself into a corner. So there's no real way to go back and easily do it. You can do it, but it's a lot more work. Now you'll notice that I'm only working on one side right now, and I don't have the mirror modifier on. I don't want it on because one of the things that I don't want this to look identical on all sides. I want things to be different. It's going to add a lot more character to the model. Plus, you're not going to see that repetition. That's another thing that's pretty important. There are times when we'll use it, but right now, I don't. I want it separated. Another thing that you'll notice is, like, as I work, it'll get pulled one way or another because it was so thin. That was actually intentional. And the reason being is because I wanted it to kind of twist and pull. And we may even exaggerate that farther. But for right now, add just a little bit of volume to those edges. Yeah, I'm liking the way that looks. So that's what I do, is I go in and I will literally just keep rotating around the model and sculpting and looking at things. Just trying to get that look that I want. Now keep in mind, this is your model. However you do it is fine. Everybody has a style that they like. Some people like the older versions of him, some like the newer. That's fine. Whatever you like is fine. It's your model. It's going to be your 3D print. Do what you want with it. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. Make it your own, for sure. So the main thing is I'm trying to make it to where it doesn't look so fragile. And I'm not worried about the lumpiness of it because most of his stuff looks like rock. So it's going to be that way. And remember what I said about the base. We need to pull this out. You need to pull this out a decent amount. You want the base to be pretty strong. You notice that I haven't used any time lapse in any of my videos. And there's a reason for that. If you're an experienced user of Blender, then these videos really aren't for you. These videos are for people that are getting started and just don't know where to start or what to do. I didn't want to speed anything up because I want people to see exactly what I'm doing. And I wanted to talk about what I was doing as I was doing it so that they had a better understanding. Later on, I'll do some advanced tutorials and stuff, and those probably will have some time-lapse stuff in them, but for right now, I'm not doing that just because, like I said, I want people to be able to see everything that I'm doing. That's pretty decent there. I'm going to pull this out. Okay, so for our first pass, I think that looks pretty good, and we'll continue on in the next video. Thanks for watching.